Awesome. Welcome everyone again. And if you just join us, let us know where you're joining from. We're very excited to have you with us this Saturday morning. Thank you for joining. We will be talking about who DevOps engineer is, and I have an expert, Alexei Pasechnik, with me today, who will be sharing the inside of this profession, how to get in the industry, how to become an expert. And for everyone who stays with us till the end, we did prepare a special offer. Please save your questions till the end as well. And we'll have a special time when we will be answering your questions. I see more people are joining us. Welcome, Sergey, Alec, Hari, Pam, everyone who's just joined us, welcome. If you didn't get a chance to make yourself a cup of tea or coffee, please take a minute and do it quickly now because we're about to get started. And so we'll see how many more people will join us today. But I am proud of you for joining us and investing this time into learning a new skill set. Because in order for you to have a lifestyle you deserve, you have to have a right skill set, which will take you to achieving your goals. So let's go ahead and get started. Maria just joined us. Welcome, Maria. And I want to know who was with us yesterday. Please let us know in the chat if you was with us yesterday. And I want to tell to you, welcome again. I'm sure today you'll learn something new, and we're excited to dive in. Yes, PM, welcome again. Thank you for joining us again. And I'm sure today you will learn more and we'll have time for questions and answers later on. So get a paper and a pen, write down all your questions, and we'll take time to answer it.
I
So
think we
let's,
can skip this stage with a pen and paper. Just write in the chat.
yeah, write it in the chat. We'll just follow up. Let's keep up with technology.
Yes, right.
Yeah, so we had one class yesterday, and as I mentioned earlier, we do have a recording, and today's meeting is recorded as well. If you know someone who is looking for a great career path, please share this recording. You will be receiving it after the webinar, and I'll give a few like words and overview about our school and for those who just join us, we will go over it. Let me introduce you first, Alexei, who is one of our experts in our school, and he is also one of my favorite instructors in our bootcamp program. And he will be sharing today how to become DevOps engineer, how to get into the industry, and his story is pretty fascinating because he didn't have experience and now he works in the industry. What puts our company apart is that we don't allow someone to teach you unless they are current, currently working in the industry because you have to know latest tools which are being used because this industry is developing rapidly. So you have to have the latest tools. And Alexei, if you want to welcome everyone, introduce yourself quickly, and then we'll dive in.
Good morning, everybody. This is a little bit outdated picture. I think we should update it. I just never like myself on the camera. My name is Alexei Pasechnik. Yes, I'm a DevOps engineer professional for last 5 years. I'm a career switcher, same as probably you, something what you are probably looking to do. I become DevOps engineer sometime 5 years ago, and I took a really interesting path through the catching up myself on the technology and learning and gaining the stack on my own. Uh, half of my on my own. There are a lot of people being involved in that process. So my current stack includes, but whatever you see here, it's a really, really short representation of what we will be working with and what I'm doing, right? So Docker, Kubernetes virtualization, distributed systems, so more like a data centers, cloud technologies, everything around the cloud, and of course, high-load cloud environments. I'm currently full-time employed, and I'm working for one of the biggest, not the biggest, but one of the pretty big US companies. And the company is really up and growing. So if you never heard about Tiles, maybe that's a good moment to Google it. They are competitors for the Apple AirTags, and they're kind of their main company is Life 360, so that's what I'm who I'm working for. And because I have the industry related industry experience, I can really bring something to the table with this course, and I really modifying the course on every iteration to give something new. Of course, I'm mostly focused on the AWS, so GCP and Azure are great cloud providers, but same, we're going to be working with the AWS mostly. And I've done my own fair share of broken servers in my life, failed production work, and unsuccessful stuff. That's why I'm trying to make your life easier and actually tell you what not to do versus what to do specifically. So that's me. I started my journey 5 years ago, and this course was designed a year ago as an extension of the existing course. And my main driving goal here is to actually give back to the community what I can bring with my knowledge and with my journey in the industry. Let's move to the next slide, right? Uh,
Let's do
I
it.
think I want to take it from there. Is that okay, Julia?
Yeah, sure, that's fine with me.
Okay, yeah. So let's talk about DevOps, right? Why you came here, why you heard this buzzword, and what sort of interest it might be to you. Because DevOps engineering industry is actually booming, and it took off sometime in 2016 as a fairly new skill set and a profession, and it keeps developing. And current projection is that from 10 billions to 60 billions dollars by 2032. And I honestly think it's not the end of it with the AI on the horizon. Like 2 years ago, nobody even know that ChatGPT would exist, right? There is great need for the people who understand the cloud resources and who can leverage them to actually make it work properly for every company. And one of the predictions, what I've heard, is that every fairly big company, over 1,000 employees, maybe even bigger, would want to have its own chatbot on site. Because when you work with the external AI, you're basically giving away your data. And at the moment, around 43% of the companies which are on the market, they are either actively seeking DevOps role or they teaching their employees to be able to comply with the DevOps principles. And the reason why, we're gonna talk a little bit later. At this point, all what I want to say that there is no end to the DevOps engineers, and actually we're gonna see even greater demand sooner. So, what about BlackScreen AI, right? What's this name is and why we are here and well, why why the BlackScreen AI? The reason is that BlackScreen AI is the project of the PSV. PSV is a programming academy in Silicon Valley. That's the acronym, right? For non-English speaking students, English and non-speaking English speaking students. So these companies started sometime again, coincidence, in 2016 in California, and they've been mostly focused on the non-native students whose English is far from perfect, who came to the USA, Canada, Europe in search for the better life, and they really wanted to have that take on the IT market. And they succeeded because they have over 3,500 graduates. I think now it should be close to 10,000. We definitely should update these digits. And they being active since 2016. The main specialty on the beginning was the software engineering, so front-end software engineer full stack. And the second grade stream was a QA engineering, so QA manual, QA automation, right? At certain point, I came back to this organization, so to the PAC, and decided to give back to the community. And honestly, I've been dreaming with the idea that, hey, I learned that much, but by teaching others, I can also extend my knowledge to gain the deeper understanding of technology, to try something new, to actually have the reason why I want to do so. And well, that's how we started around 6 seasons ago. That means 2.5 years from now. And again, we first started from the non-native English speakers. And a year ago, we decided, hey, why just not give it a shot and try something new? And that's how the Black Screen was born. So currently, there are two streams. One of it is machine learning, and the second one is DevOps engineering. So I'm the teacher on the DevOps engineering stream, and that's what you're here for, right? Today for the DevOps engineers. We have a lot of graduates. You definitely can find our people actually all across the main major biggest companies, and well, all of the reviews on the YouTube, they are not made up. Definitely not. So if you're interested to get a feel of it, you can either try to search for the PSV. Of course, a lot of reviews will be in Russian, uh, but there are plenty of English as well. And BlackScreen.ai is the project of the PSV. It's not that famous yet, but hey, now you know. And we do have reviews for the BlackScreen.ai as well. So our programs are developed considering the requirements and process of the IT in the North America. And the idea is that during our bootcamp, you will get a theoretical knowledge, but we are not doing Harvard level CS, sorry, MIT level CS 50 or something, right? The idea behind this bootcamp is actually to onboard you and provide you the skill set necessary to be successful on the interview. So that is the idea. And of course, if you need more knowledge and everything, I'm happy to support you along your journey. But overall, is that the idea is that you should be successful and you should be competitive on the market at the end of the bootcamp. Um, Yes, our students also go on the internship. We do have a bunch of projects running internally. And of course, there is a certain help with the resume writing, and we provide resume training, like interview training for the screening processes, explain how it will be done, what's going on there, and provide you with all of the necessary insights for that. So that's our graduates reviews. There's only few of them. In reality, there is way more. And normally, what's interesting is that our students, they go out into the world and they come back 6 months later. 6 months, 1 year later, once they settle down their career path, and they actually also contribute to the community. So what that means that reviews are fine, but there is a great stream of help from the people who also actively working inside the org. So once you get the access to the Slack channel, it's never a shame to ask a question, like a random one. And sometimes you get random answers, and sometimes you get really helpful ones. So our graduates actually, as I said, working all across the board. So that's only the fraction of the companies who being employing our graduates. I'm not gonna go over all of them, but those are definitely big names, and you definitely can find it there. And now let's switch gears and go about the topic of today's webinar, right? Uh, let's talk about DevOps engineer. Who can become a one? Honestly, almost everyone. The what's matter is that you need to be detail oriented, hardworking, capable of learning, and you need to have a logical understanding of the things, right? Also, the team player is the important aspect of that part as well. Gender, age, basic education, it's totally doesn't matter. Because, well, if you have a passion for something, you will get it. And if you have a will, and if you have a need, and if you have a um drive to do so, you also will get it. And I've seen a lot of successful students who's being in the position, hey, I really need it, I really want it, and they invested their time into this bootcamp, and they come out really successful, and they didn't really have any issues during the interview process. So again, gender, age, race, whatever. Honestly, what I keep saying, the blood is red for all of the human beings, and I don't have that prejudice on me. And well, your education is kind of a secondary, but you will need to invest yourself and your time into the learning, and that will be pretty intense boot camp. That's like that I can promise you. Uh, Next, right? Now we go into the actual DevOps itself. What this profession is, what do they do, and hey, why we specifically need a DevOps engineer, right? So sometimes I'm gonna give you a little bit of a history lesson here. It's a very short, not boring, and pretty quick one. Sometimes in like 90s, the development process, developing new application process, looked slightly different than it looks now, right? Because if you think about it for a moment, the everybody uses Facebook or TikTok or YouTube, right? So the thing is that those companies they innovate with an astonishing speed. For example, if you need a new like button on that video, you can do it in literally like a week. So for you, it just not being there, and next what you know, there is a like button, or like YouTube removed the dislike button, which I'm not a big fan of. Like they should have left it there. Um, the thing is that it took them roughly between like a week to the month to actually put it in there. These days, it's super fast. Sometimes in 90s, it would have taken them a couple years. So imagine you as the user having an issue, like you really want to have that dislike button back, and they wouldn't put it back because they just couldn't. All of the software systems, it's a complex topic. It's a complex system which are intertwined and entangled, like it's an engineering marvel at the end of the day. And to actually add something simple, it could be not that simple. So in 90s, it was a very lengthy process, and developer who writes its own code, who would just add that button, he would come back to the system administrator back in the time. So before that, the cloud wasn't so popular. Everything was running on someone else's computer, right? We had a big data centers, we had a computers there. They were making some funny noises, and there were specific people, system administrator, who would just set it up and make sure it runs. So developer would come back with that like button and tells the system admin, "Hey, I need this launched." And the system admin would try to launch it, and it would fail because why? Developer set up his computer in a specific way which suits him the best. So certain drivers, certain keyboard, certain mouse, certain camera, also some specific operational system like iOS or Windows or Linux or specific flavor of Linux, and so on, right? So it was a system which was configured for the developer to work his best. The thing is that system admin didn't know how it was set, and there was no way to repeat the process which developer did, because sometimes it's over 100 parameters which involved. So what the system admin would do, he would just bring the software back to the developer and tell him, hey, I understand you are awesome, but it wouldn't work on my server because, hey, I don't know what is missing or what parts needed, right? And the developer would come back and would need to redesign his software to actually be capable of working on that server. That was the idea. And that process of tossing the code about the wall here and there would take months, literally. People would write the ticket, they would sit do nothing, while the other side was trying to do something, and so on. Hence, there was a need into somebody who understand a little bit of development, but not that much to be able like to code. I mean, coding is definitely an advantage, but in the DevOps field, it's not 100% requirement. And so the need was in somebody who kind of understand what was written in that code, and somebody who can go to the system admin and tell him, hey, because you see the certain errors on your server, you might need to tweak a little bit this, and that. Done. And so that person actually simplified delivery time and cut the process of arguing between developer and system admin by couple months. So literally everything starts moving faster. And from there, cloud took off. So sometime in 2000s, like 2006 and on, um, the cloud technology took off and it became actually cheap enough just to rent a simple server. Uh, and Over 3 years, the last question. And basically understand how to make it most efficient. Because the idea was that, hey, you pay for what you use, and that means you need to use as little as possible to get the maximum performance what you can. And that became a part of the DevOps duty. So that's how the platform engineer was born, technically. And from there, DevOps just keep evolving. It's still evolving up to now because current field is the AI, and there's a lot of work with the GPU, so graphic processing units, our video cards, right? And that is also a tricky stage to set, honestly. There are so many dependencies, so many fun stuff to do with the NVIDIA drivers that, well, it can take just a couple of months trying to understand what exactly needs to be done. And because of that, DevOps is blooming. And because DevOps is actually saving money and time to the company, they are still needed all across the IT. Uh, and this trend is just going up, honestly, because a lot of companies now, all of you know that we are kind of in this semi downturn of the overall world economy. And DevOps is the person who can help to find inefficiencies in how the company is running something. And the idea is that the payback is great. Like you hire one DevOps engineer and you save at least 4 or 5x of his salary. And it's really the case. I've seen that myself. So that's why it's a great job security, and that is a great place to be. Now, what activities DevOps is involved inside the company? Uh, Shortly, the answer is yes, means all of it. The reason why, right? Because to be able to find the inefficiencies, we need to understand the full cycle of development. And that's exactly what we do. We participate in the planning, so how to define requirements, how to define the path forward for the developers. We participate in the coding stage where developers would create the code, they create something from scratch and they would do something, right? But most of the times, a lot of developers, they do not really care how they're going to store that code. And I'm talking from the experience as well. Uh, at certain stage, the code storage or like GitHub, right? Uh, Normally it's a VCS, code management system. Anyways, so the idea is that they would ship that code and they would just mess it with the other people code. And DevOps is partially responsible to making sure establish guidelines and rules so that it would be virtually impossible to mess it up. So the clear codes, right? And also they need to teach the developers sometimes to work with it properly. The next stage is build. And build, that means the code by itself does nothing. It's a dead entity. It's just a string of texts which doesn't have a value. So to be able to actually use that code, we need to compile it into the usable piece. And that's called building the code. And in certain cases, it's either done manually or automated. And DevOps is responsible for automating that process. By the way, here, I think I'm gonna pause the presentation on this slide. Sorry, keep jumping back and forth. And I've been kind of prepping a short demo for you guys. Of course, I didn't pray my demo gods this morning, so we'll see how bad that can go. What I want to show you, hold on, keep jumping between. One of the examples of the build process and actually deploying the code in the production. So on our course, one of the advantages is that me as being experienced DevOps, I give you access to certain hardware and I'll actually give you the hands-on experience working with a certain tech. It's also part of our project or internship. So you will be able, after you learn the things, you will be able to pick up the work and just execute it yourself. The thing is that I do not remember my login here, and nice, the autofill doesn't work for some reason. Give me a second. I don't know why. I was so excited to show you guys the actual process, and somehow it just kicked me out. And yes, uh, new Google Chrome versions. Oops. So I effectively locked myself out. I can try to find it, but that's gonna take a little bit. And maybe meanwhile, Julia, do you want to take over while I'm setting up? I'm gonna be doing it live on the screen, so that's okay. Just need a couple of minutes. So maybe you can take over. Any questions in the chat you can answer, something like that. Yes, I know. I think I allowed to unmute people. Julia, give me a second. Oh, okay. Didn't I? Yes. Okay. You should be
Okay.
capable of unmuting. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Alexei. So while he's doing the password, I just want to welcome everyone who just joined. I saw new people. And so we'll just answer more of your questions. I saw that someone was asking about the salary, how much DevOps engineer is earning once you completed the program. So the
We'll get there.
salaries for this profession, they usually start from anywhere from 120,000, and of course not the first year, but then there's a room to grow, and so you potentially could be making over $200,000 a year, and that's a great start. So if you would, let's say, go to college, it would take you at least 4 years, and you invest a lot of money into your education, and that's not necessary that you would be able to use it. So in here, you complete our program, which would take you 4 months, and it's very interactive. It will be live classes. So what makes our program different is that it's not just the recordings you receive on a weekly basis, but you are actually able to join live classes. You can ask questions. Alexei is usually added, he adds a lot of practical assignments. So you wouldn't be just listening like a lecture, but you get a chance to apply what you're learning. So by the time you completed the program, you already have a skill set and you are able to complete the tasks which are required at your workplace. And also, there is a biggest advantage of being a part of the community where you all have the same mindset, and you are learning together. We have remote work opportunities. Yes, the work is remote, so pretty much you can have a laptop, work anywhere in the world. And in the times we're living, it is so vital to have a work which gives you flexibility, because the challenges we're facing right now and we will be chasing soon, they're not going to become less. And with prices going up, you have to be able to have a passive stream of income, which allows you to work from anywhere in the world and make pretty good money to sustain your lifestyle. So that's why, I mean, it's a great industry. And right now it's about 10 billion industry, but by 2032, as Alexei mentioned in the beginning, it's going to be over 60 billion. So it's a great time to seize the opportunity and get the skill set necessary, and how long is this course? Also, how much does it cost? So for everyone who stays with us till the end, we did prepare the special offer, and the course would take you 4 months. And the classes are 3 times a week. It's all live sessions. And plus, as a bonus, so for those who join this group, we prepared a special practical classes, which are available twice a week, and Alexei will mention it more in the end. But that actually puts you in the position where you apply your skill set. It's not just the theory. So the biggest, I think, challenge when you just go to the college, or or if you bought the program with recordings, you don't have a chance to apply the skill set which you're learning. Class is usually about an hour and a half, because Alexei usually tries to answer all the questions. And the other advantage of our group is that it's a smaller group. We try to have no more than 20 students, and in this case, each student has a personal attention from our instructor, and your questions are answered. You have some extra maybe assignments if it's necessary for you to figure out what you're learning. So by the end of the program, you already know how to apply your skill set, and you can put you can't even put price tag on it, because it's important. It's not like where you bought a cheap course on Udemy somewhere. You get the recordings, which could be 3 years old, old tools and everything. But Alexei works in the industry, so he can share with you the latest knowledge. So are we
Right.
ready for our example, Alexei?
Yes. I got my password.
Awesome.
I can tell you what went wrong. I upgraded my Google Chrome and it changed the password policies again. So
Okay.
it wouldn't auto retrieve the passwords from the cache. That's a fun part working with the new tech every day, right? So what's the demo is about? Let's switch gears, right? You came here to actually get the view on the some tech, and well, I can show you that. Uh, Part of the course, this is, I'm gonna go from the end. So this is the most advanced stuff you're gonna work with. And this is literally the bleeding edge of tech right now. That tool on the market is probably like a couple years and it's not widely used. So a lot of companies, they do not even know that this tool exists. This tool is called Argo CD. And that tool is made to manage the virtualized environments. Essentially, it simplifies the way of deploying anything in the Kubernetes. For those who haven't heard about Kubernetes, well, it's a complex topic, and we devote, I think, the whole full month for learning the ropes and understanding how that works together. Because Kubernetes is a virtualized technology on the top of the actual virtual machines in the cloud. It gets multi-layered from here, but do not be scared. I'm starting from the end. This is kind of like a final closing project at the fourth month of the course, and that's something what you will be capable of doing after you finish with us. And if you mention on the interview is yours, like literally. I would be excited to speak about it, for example, if I would be interviewing somebody. So the idea here, what you're looking at is that this is the control plane. So think about it as the control room for the Kubernetes cluster. What you see here is a bunch of applications. Application can be anything. It can be a website, it can be a streaming platform like YouTube, it can be the artificial intelligence platform. And I do provide you access to the artificial intelligence bot. I know how to launch it and I have it at home. And actually, it's a part of the course as well, a little bit. Although we're not going to dig into it like machine learning engineers do. So this demo is about the Pacman. Everybody knows what Pacman is, I hope, right? You played it for sure. So currently, there is a URL or link, which is Pacman. That one, by the way, is live. I think Argo, voxel.ca. You see, it gives you non-found error. That means nothing is there. I'm gonna give you a link in the chat. And once I press certain buttons, utter certain incantations, and maybe it wouldn't work well from the beginning, but you will actually have it up and running, right? To do so, I just press the sync button. It's the overall magic of the DevOps, by the way. All of this being set up by me and the previous group. So now, if we go here, we get a bunch of things happening. I'm not going to dive deep into it, but essentially we are launching the uh, new microserver. It's called pod inside the Kubernetes. And that pod is running our Pacman. So currently it tries to get certain data and it's failing and it's normal. it also connected to the, not connected to the database, but it will work. And from here, well, the database failed, which is expected. The thing is that overall, this link becomes active. And now you have a fully functional Pacman out of scratch. The project itself was honestly taken for demo purposes from the open source. So I just found it on the GitHub somewhere. And all credits for developing this project is in the info section. So Pacman wasn't written by me, but I launched it on my own infrastructure at my home. And why this is important? Because this is the showcase of your knowledge and your ability to work with the multiple things in the Kubernetes cluster. And if you show something like this during the interview will be really impressed. And that's something what you will be using your day-to-day as the DevOps engineer. In this part, it looked simple. I know I make it over simple. The idea was that, hold on. I'm trying to open more details. The idea is that we would be configuring something like this templates and making sure these templates make our machines do what we want with them. So that's the magic of the DevOps. On the flip side, the second demo, right? That was Kubernetes. So I start from the most complicated one. Here's the simpler one. Simpler one, but kind of different. The kind of different one. Oh, sorry, that was Jira. We, by the way, have a Jira at our bootcamp. Yeah, I think that's the one. Yes. So here we go. I wish I do know the password again. So give me a second. My Google completely hides the passwords from me. Today is exactly that day. Can you stop doing it to me, please? Okay.
I think this is a
Okay.
great example of the problem solving skills that Alexei has. He doesn't give up, he just figures it out.
Well,
And I think it's important to have it in DevOps engineer career. You know, when something didn't work out, you just figure out how to fix it and you move forward. So let's see the next
yes.
example.
I like the question about subscription fee. I probably should have started charging it by now. No, my students get it for free. I provide all of the necessary tools and more. The thing is that you actually need to start using it. And hold on, guys. There's one more question. Can you type the name of the app? It's Argo CD. I welcome you to try. The second one is Jenkins. Jenkins is our automation powerhouse. So this is a super great tool. It's open source. Again, everybody can install it on your computer and use it. Uh, and it's powerful in the ways because it have a lot of vendor supports. So basically, every big company either used or still using Jenkins as part of its core infrastructure services, because Jenkins can run anything. And the idea is that we set up the pipeline. So certain, let me show you. You see the bunch of pipelines here, by the way. Uh, and I want to try something interesting. Pacman, where is the Pacman? Yeah, okay. I do have a pipeline which actually gonna start. I'm gonna try desk jokes. That should be okay. What can go wrong, right? So the idea is that I have a configuration here which connects to my cloud, my account in the cloud, where I do have my own cloud account. Sorry for repetition. And it executes on this code here. Again, for now, it's just a bunch of templates. Again, don't be scared that you need to know it right now. That's something what I teach you to know. And that's something what I teach you and show you how to work with. So this demo is just a showcase or basically a pinnacle of the certain section in our studying on the bootcamp. That That is probably like 2 months in, 1.5, 2 months in. And what this one does, it spins up the new instance or a new server. And on this server, it installs and gives me a link for the certain websites. And while we are staring at the console output, I'm gonna explain you what's going on here. Basically, at this point, we just went to the GitHub, we copied the projects from there. Now we are installing additional software here. This software goes and connects into my AWS account. Let me show you. I have it open right here. And you're gonna have the same AWS account. I'm gonna show you how to safely work with it and how to manage it and how to use it to your advantage to be able to gain the industry experience. And that is the kind of a catch of the DevOps profession, catch 22, because you need to have an industry experience, but without actually working with a cloud, you can't get that experience. And you can work with a big cloud only in the big company because the whole tech is expensive. So on our bootcamp, we have a certain pathway which is designed to actually guide you along these technologies and give you the hands-on experience necessary to be successful at work. It sounds complicated, right? Uh, the simpler, basically, I will show you how to launch things. It's not gonna cost you money, and you're still gonna be having the experience and understanding what it takes once you're actually at the job. So that's the idea. Uh, Now, let's see if it's actually did anything fun. Hold on. I think I'm gonna just split my screen. Sorry, guys. And here we are launching a lot of new things. It says input requested. I'm saying proceed. So I need to agree that I'm launching something. And now here you shortly will see a new server. I hope so. uh, that should be the thing which was up here in the page. Here we go. So now it's a Node.js app server. It didn't existed before. I'm creating it out of thin air right now. And I'm also setting it up with a certain configuration. So what's gonna happen next? My Jenkins gonna go in and turn on the additional website, which didn't exist before. That is the power of the DevOps. So developer comes to me and says, "Hey, I need to launch the new website." I'm like, "Sure, give me give me a couple weeks." Joking. Usually, we have a pre-made templates, so we do it only once, and from there, we just reuse them. So technically, this is not something new, right? For me, and it's not going to be new for you. At the moment, I believe we are. Yes, we are, yes, right now setting up the application itself. I'm just waiting until it's actually gonna give me the address of the server because it's not ready yet, but you're looking at the magic right now. Come on. And because it's a real life demo, I think it will go okay. For those who are familiar, right, who worked with the Node.js, who know what JavaScript is, basically I'm installing all of the Node.js requirements here, including the Node.js 16, because that project runs on the Node.js 16. And then next step will be running the npm install, adding all of the packages, and launching the Node.js server. To manage the node, I use something what is called PM2. PM2 is the additional package which allows me to run node project as a server. Without that, it wouldn't run properly. So install that. Now copying the application code. And it's actually two applications in one server, so it should be dad jokes and battleships. And from there, now installing dependencies. I haven't touched that project in a 7 month. So that was like 2 seasons ago. So right now you're really looking into the uh live stream of what's happening there. And now I believe that this should give me the access to my battleship. 3000. Let me try, because I haven't touched it for a while. No, it's 3. I thought I'm installing it on the proper. Yeah, it's installed and it's running. The question is where it's running, right? So what I'm gonna do now, because I don't know, there is a way to figure it out. And to do so, we connect into the server itself. And what I got to next, pm2 list. Okay, so that gives me the application. And to get the idea, okay, so it's a 3000, 3001. So that should be there then, 3000. Because I wasn't, yes, continue. Here we go. So that's the one. I'm posting the link in the chat. It says it's not secure, of course, because there is some certain addition which needs to be done to actually make it work. And that's the death joke I was talking about, right? What has ears but can hear? A field of corn. Nice. And it's actually a live generator. So it's pulling the jokes from the certain website and generating it back to you. And you can also tweet it. Again, it's not my project. The projects were taken from somebody. It's an open source. But overall, this is the code which is live and we were able to launch. I'm gonna leave it at it until the end of our webinar. And from there, I'm gonna turn it off. So this is not the makeup stuff. It's not a scripted thing. I just genuinely run it in front of you just to showcase you the technologies, right? And we started from the most complex technology. This is easier because this one is scripted in the meaning that once you have the script, even the ChatGPT can generate it. You can just plug it into the Jenkins and get the advantage of Jenkins spinning up the stuff for you. Currently, these two applications cost me, talking about costs, right? I launched this server. I think this is like $15 to $20 per month to run it. So I subscribe to the certain services on the AWS side as the enterprise level user. So this is enterprise level technology. And that is exactly what's going to help you to overcome that catch-22. You will get an experience without actually having to pay thousands of dollars to get in touch with the certain technologies. Overall, AWS gives the users who sign to it the free tier. So we gotta try to operate within the free tier. That means it's not gonna cost you anything. It costs me $20 per month right now. If I turn it off, I'm gonna pay for like 5 minutes, which is 20 cents or something, maybe less. And the idea is that the new users, something like you who don't know, who want to learn, who want to try, they get a year worth of this server for free. So again, I will show you how to operate it, how to set it up, and how to work with it. Now, I think that was good enough for now, and we can continue with our presentation. That was technically this last 3 stages: build, test, and deploy. So I show you that, hey, we built it because some magic happened in Jenkins or whatever. We tested, so I tried to get the access to the application and I couldn't, right? So that means that the preliminary test failed. But then I went into the instance itself, did a couple of, again, magic passes, and things started working. And deploy. Deploy, that means that those applications didn't existed before, and now I just created them and gave you access to it. So that means it's live and it's in production. You are as users can get access to it, and it's a fully production, I wouldn't say fully production ready applications, but hey, you get access to it and you can use it. Now what we need to do, right? That's one of the next stages is operate. What means operate? We look into the application. If everything's fine, the lights are on, no problems for the users, we just turn around and go away. But in certain cases, we need to manage the applications as well. So our developers, what if there is a new version of Pacman? What if there is a new version of the death jokes, right? And we want to add that extra button. We need to redeploy it. And then we need to operate it and monitor that the things are working properly. And the last but not least stage is actually going over the monitoring. What that means, right? Monitoring means that we have a certain tool set which helps us to understand if we are actually heading for disaster or if disaster already happened. And this tool set, again, just gonna call some names. It's basically Prometheus, Grafana, PagerDuty, Datadog, and so on. That tool set gives us an early warning or provides us a visibility into things are getting broken. In our case, because it's an oversimplified demo today, we didn't really launch anything like that. But, well, I, again, have this launched on my own personal environment, and I will give you access to it, so you're going to be capable of tinkering with it. I think next slide, right? Tool set. So what basically we just used, how do you think, out of all of this listed here? I'm gonna give you maybe 10 seconds to just try to guess it in the chat. But yeah, you can just type in numbers if you want. Right, we have one great response, Jenkins. Cool, yes. Somebody's been watching me doing things. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, 2 and 6. So Jenkins and Kubernetes. 6 is wrong. Well, no, technically the first demo was Kubernetes, yes. Argo. Argo is not here. Okay, that's in many more list. Good. Ansible. Okay. I think I got it all. You guys are really taking it right. We didn't use that was container D, Vladimir. That was container D, not Docker in the Kubernetes. Okay, so let me break it down for you. In the first demo, I used Argo CD, Kubernetes, Git, or GitHub, and that's it. No cloud, no Jenkins, no Terraform, no Ansible. Argo CD is many more category. The container D was used to run the container inside the Kubernetes because currently Kubernetes do not use Docker Engine anymore. They ripped it off sometime 2.5 years ago, I think. They swapped it for something else because they said Docker is inefficient. So for the second demo, I use cloud, I use AWS, I use GitHub, that's where I pulled the code from. I use Jenkins as the automation which run it. I use Terraform to actually spin up the environment for the application, so to get a hold of that server. I use Ansible to set up that server, yes. And no Docker, Kubernetes, or Argo. So as you see, which looks like too simple demo, can involve such a wide tool set. And that's exactly about DevOps engineer, because DevOps engineer is master of tools. We do not necessarily need to develop the new code. We actually need to understand how the existing stuff runs. And there's so many things in the tool belt, like we literally can span across like 20, 30, 40 technologies that, well, sometimes there's just no need or even time to actually go and dig deeper into it. Believe me, at a certain point of your career, you will. You will realize that, hey, I really want to focus on Jenkins, or I'm really passionate about Kubernetes, so I want to develop more. Or maybe it's a time to learn Go as the programming language. That will happen. But as part of the bootcamp, the idea is that I need to provide you the pathway to transition to the employee and get into the field. So at the moment, it is not necessary. And what I'm saying is, currently, you need to have a rather wider stack versus the narrower and focused on one tool, because one tool not gonna cut you in the interview. You really need to cut it for you on the interview. You really need to know basics of most of at least those which are on the screen in front of you. And that's what we do here. So let's move to the next slide. I think just keep doing like this. All right, so here's the answer for the salary. The average base salary is what, 120K a year? It totally depends. Place, time of the year, economy situation, and so on. But me, myself, I've seen 150K a year. We do not prep you for the entry-level position. There's no such a thing as the junior DevOps engineer. You're either a DevOps engineer or you're not. Uh, because of so many tools and so much knowledge needed, uh, it's simply just not a thing. So we are prepping you for the senior and DevOps engineer position. We're not prepping you for the junior. And I'm giving you all of the tools, all of the accesses, everything needed. I'm a senior engineer myself. And I'm well on my journey. And currently, I'm actually transitioning a little bit from the DevOps engineer stack into the FinOps engineer. That is the same but slightly different approach to look into the running cloud with a cost. So I'm focusing on how much things cost and how I can optimize it. In your case, you will be focusing on the technology itself. And that's what we will be doing on the bootcamp. Uh, what you will learn, again, one more time, right? You will learn how to use and what tools exist out there. You will learn how to work with a certain tools like Terraform and Ansible. So create, modify, version templates. We're gonna be writing the templates. It doesn't mean we're gonna be coding. Again, coding is something else. We will be reusing the existing pieces of the code just to modify the parameters. That's all. Containerization and Docker, right? That part is important if you want to go into the Kubernetes. And databases, of course. The last part here, but not the least, again, is the SQL, MySQL databases. NoSQL, Redis, caching, and so on. I know a lot of scary words. The whole idea is that we do not work with the databases as the DBA, so database administrators, or database developers. We work with the databases from the perspective of the hardware. Like, hey, here's the server, here's the database, here's the access to that database. That's it. And we need to know how to monitor them. So what if things starts going south, right? How would you determine that? That's exactly the idea of the DevOps. So we look into the monitorings and metrics, and we give the hints to our developers that, hey, maybe you're not really doing something right here. How our timeline looks like. We start on the October 23rd. That is 4-month course. In general, it is 46 lessons. We have 3 lessons per week. That is the lecture style lessons. So I will be focusing more on the theory and providing informations on why and what and how. And we do have 2 more practice lessons, something what's not on this schedule. The lessons are between 1/2 hour to 2 hours. So 2 academic hours, 2.5 academic hours, easy. You will see why I'm saying it, because we already spent an hour together, and I hope the time just fly by for you. And it'll be 3 lessons per week. I will get to the schedule a little bit later. It's next slide. After that, or actually alongside the lessons, you get the internship. So we have 1 lesson per week where we have a like real world company style environment. So basically working with a Jira, working with the management, picking up the task yourself and executing it yourself. And we do have the career coaching. Career coaching, again, it's a bonus of our course. We do have dedicated lesson times when you come in and speak with the actual HR person, and they will guide you through the process of the interviewing, of creating the resume and working through the like necessary questions and kind of practices there. Also, at the end of the course, I combine 2 streams, so Russian speaking and English speaking. I'll be English speaking held interviews. and you will go there and I will interview you as on the real life interview based on the resume which you develop. We do provide references. So after you finish this course, you will get a reference for the course and you'll get all support what's needed for you to get out on the market. So career gap, age, whatever, this is important, but we will help you to structure the resume the way that you will get visibility from the recruiters and you actually get hired, right? So at the end of the course, you will get a chance to be interviewed as on the real life interview. As I'm a senior DevOps engineer, right? And I've done my fair share of interviews on the both sides. So I know how it is done, what I'm looking for, and how to pick you apart. Trust me. Trust me, I know. And yes, you will get the chance to. That's classes schedule. Those are the main classes. So lecture style with me, Wednesday 6:30, Friday 6:30, Saturday 9:30 a.m. All of this in the Pacific time. I know it's getting late for those who are on the EST side, but at the same time, it's an advantage because you basically can finish your work or like business stuff and come back and actually work with me during the afternoons. But expect 1.5 to 2 hours. And I know for some people it is hard and you want to go to sleep and so on. It gets late for sure. What we do also, we record every session. So if you start losing me at certain point, that's okay. You can always come back and rewatch it later. You will get access to the portal, and this access is not expiring. So it's not a subscription. It's not based on anything additional tricks or jumps and hoops. It's technically you get an access as long as the company exists. You will get basically lifetime access to those videos. So the whole course which you went through, you will have access to the recordings. And on the top of it, we have 2 practice lessons, one on Thursday, one on Sunday. Those are not here. The practice lessons, they are held by the other teacher. He is my helper and he's really knowledgeable and great person. What's the practice is about? It's the place where you can come in and like, oh, I didn't get that, or Alexi went through stuff too quick, or something is not understandable. Let's pick it apart. And you focus on the one piece at a time and you work there your way through. So it's a place where you can ask questions and the practice is designed for you. So it's in your best interest to come in there, see how others asking questions, work with others, and get your stuff done. And I'm not a believer into the homework. So basically, practice lessons are your homework time too. So you can do your homework there. The homework usually is done or picked apart on the lectures and practice. So do not expect to do a lot of homework, but you'll be doing a lot of learning. So you really need to invest yourself into the gaining the knowledge if you want to get into the industry. The practice is held on Thursday and Sunday. Usually it's a 1.5 hour long, and that time is very depending on the group, so can be adjustable. Currently, it's a 1:30 on Thursday, 1:30 PST, PM, and Sunday, 3:30 PM PST. All of the time in the Pacific time zone, because I'm in the Pacific time zone. So please align yourself accordingly here. And here, I think, is the next slide for Julia. Julia, I'm gonna switch it over to you.
Thank you. So you all seen the great potential of this industry and the professional becoming a DevOps engineer. And you probably are thinking, how do I get started? Where do I get started? And we are going to be answering your questions in few seconds, but I wanted to give you this special offer we prepared for everyone who stayed with us till the end. I could I could see that most of the people stayed with us till the end. I want to thank you for being with us today, for investing this time into learning about this new industry and the potential which is on the market. And I always talk about the power of investing into yourself in order for you to be on the next level in your life and have the lifestyle which you deserve. You have to understand the power of investment. And so today only, you can join this program for 3,099 if you make a payment before midnight. So on Monday, it's going to be a different price. So we are going to give you opportunity to join at this special promotional price for everyone who stayed at the webinar. So you can go ahead and take action right now, scan this QR code, and do not miss this opportunity. And as one of my mentors, John Maxwell, says, success is when preparation meets opportunity. We do help you to become successful by preparing you for this opportunity, which is on the market right now. A year down the road, the demand might be not as high as it is right now. And as you know, when the industry opens up, then faster you get in, then faster you get the skill set, then faster you can monetize on it and take advantage of it. So scan this QR code and join us. Do not let anything to stop you from taking this action. And yesterday we mentioned with Alexei that it took him only a month to return his investment. And I don't like the when it comes to the student loans and everything. If you would have spent few years going to college, here you study for 4 months and you already have a skill set, which allows you and opens the door to be able to be making at least $122,000 a year. Even if you minus all the taxes and everything, it's a pretty good amount of money which you can live on. And so the beauty of investment into yourself is that that allows you to achieve your dreams but have a different lifestyle. And being a mindset coach, I talk to people all the time and help them to go to the next level. And sometimes they allow their past failures or fears to stop them from taking action. And I want to encourage you today, do not be one of them. Take an action and create a lifestyle which you deserve. You got to know your why. And so I'm sure if you don't know it yet, you figure it out. How bad do you want to succeed? How bad do you want to have the career which will allow you to have flexibility to work from anywhere in the world and do things which you deserve or which are on your bucket list? Not just create a new bucket list every year, but actually being able to do those things. So scan the QR code right now, take an action, and take charge of your future. Be where you deserve to be, and do not miss this opportunity. So you get a chance to do it right now. And let us go over the questions. I've seen there were a lot of questions in the chat. And Alexei started answering some of them. Thank you for that. And so, as I said, 4 months course usually depends on how active you are. It takes a few months, or for some people, it could take a few weeks. Depends how many interviews you are able to visit, how many resumes are you sending. But as Alexei mentioned, we do support you on preparation, and having a right mentor is what helps you to get from point A to point B in a short time, where you don't waste years trying to figure out how do I get there. And the industry is blooming, opportunities there, so it's time to take an action and seize this opportunity. So there are a lot of remote work opportunity, Vaja was asking earlier. And let me go to the question which I got from said here. Please forgive me if I did pronounce your name right in the beginning. You will ask us to break down how the training will be held, the weekly schedule, and Alexei already mentioned it, but you also ask, do we get access to Sandbox where you will be able to practice different tools? Alexei, do they get the access to the Sandbox?
Sandbox. We build the sandbox for you. So essentially, I will show you how to do your own sandbox. And that's a part of the
Awesome.
course. I provide you with all of the means to actually being able to experiment with even without us here. But yes, we do have a sandbox environment, and I will provide you access to it as well. The thing is, along the course, you will see that's not really necessary because the way how we structure the course, I go from this simple things to the complex. And one of the first third of the course is actually how to build the environment, how to build the server, how to stand it up, how to set it up. and so on. And then you can use exactly the same servers for your experiments. By the way, the operational system laptop doesn't really matter. We work with all of sorts of operational systems here, like Mac OS, Linux, Windows. But I would recommend to have a laptop with 8 gigabytes of RAM. For those who do understand. It's not a mandatory requirement. It's kind of like a soft requirement to have, but it would be very helpful. And if it's not the possibility, then that's fine too, because we are orienting on the cloud. And I will show you how to leverage the cloud to your advantage so you can get the hardware which you need and how to work with it. That's the
Awesome.
answer.
Thank you so much, Alexei. I got another question. So if we do not get hired after completing the course, we still can retake the course again, correct? So that was the question from Sidhu. Great question.
Yeah,
We
I
do
I did answer it,
allow you to
yes.
do that, right? Yeah.
Sorry?
Oh, I saw. Yeah. I see that you answered it. And the other thing I wanted to mention too is that the recording of the classes, live classes, would be available for you too. I know that we all do live in different time zones in different states, and so let's say the time is in Pacific, you didn't make it, you missed the class, you can always rewatch the recording. And because the group is small, on the next class, you can always ask Alexei the questions if there is something you misunderstood. So that's the beauty about being able to be a part of the small group. Let me see if I got more questions. Is there a possibility for class session to be Monday as an option? So as I said, that the recordings might be an option for you if you can't, if you're missing like one of the days, like Friday, or you can just probably watch on Monday the recording and then on the next class ask the questions. What's the installment price? So scan this QR code and one of our career coaches will reach out to you and you will discuss the payment options. Do not let money stop you from achieving this goal. There are a lot of options, and I'm sure you can choose the one which will suit you the best. But the main thing is to make a decision and take an action. And how bad do you want to be in a different position 6 months down the road? How bad do you want to succeed and get a dream career which will allow you to be in a different position? So don't allow anything, don't procrastinate this decision of moving forward and taking a charge of your life. Some people, they're just dreamers and some people are doers, so be the one who takes action to change your career. So scan the QR code and we'll be able to help you to figure out the best option which works for you.
Julia,
Let
give
me
me a
see.
second here. If you're
Go
talking
ahead.
to me, I have an issue with my earphones.
hmm
I'm gonna mute
Go ahead.
myself.
All right. Let's see if I missed any. So we got a question about resume interview. We are helping you with that. And as Alexei mentioned, so you even would have a practice time where you practicing your preparation for interview. And that's very important because that would help you to be able to, to feel confident because when you're at that interview, you got to be able to be confident. All right, let's see. Is there any other questions? Let me see. The references, I'll let Alexei to answer that. Alexei answered that
There's a
one.
question about syllables. Well,
hmm
exactly the syllables itself, we do have it. First of all, we have it on the web page, the more detailed description. So I think I should just post the web page. BlackScreen AI.
Yeah, that would be very helpful. And then Pam was asking about references, which
I did
state.
respond to that.
Oh, you already got it. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, that was a multiple questions in the row.
hmm
And yeah, I posted the link to our. First, I will start from the link, right? I posted the link to our webpage, and here's the DevOps engineer, and it does. If it doesn't, then I gonna make sure it does have a proper syllables in there. It's like yeah, it does have a course outline. Sure. So at the bottom of the page, it's there. I'm not gonna post it in the chat because pretty lengthy piece. So just go to the page right here and you will be able to find it. Now, yeah, the questions about the references and so on, I hopefully responded to it. The idea is that we really wanted you to know something before you actually start applying for the job, right? That's the one thing. The other thing, so the references will be provided to you, the names. The names, we have a pretty big team, and do not worry, you will be supported. I'm not gonna give you the full names right now. I provided an example of few people who definitely gonna back you up and tell you, hey, I being your teacher, that's me, right? Or I being your um, I being a team member, so we worked with you together, and so on. All of that will be done probably on the second, third month of the course. So that's when we start thinking about going on the market and working with the recruiters and so on. Because I really want you to know something before you actually start applying for the job. And there is might be a temptation, just get on the course, gather references, and use this as your backup. Unfortunately, if you do not have enough knowledge, you might pass the interview, you might get the job, but you're not going to be able to perform. And it's our reputation as well as the company. And we here setting you up for the success, but we are not setting up you for the failure. And that means that on the beginning, it's just not feasible. Until we actually understand what you're capable of, there is no point of moving you forward, right? That's another thing. And the last question, Pam, I mean, great question so far. You're really nailing it. I like it. Um, so why I transitioned from DevOps to FinOps and what was the reason and inspiration? Honestly, it's just the career turns. The thing is that FinOps is an extension of the DevOps. So once you get to this certain level of like a hard skills, you start developing your soft skills. And FinOps feels more like a soft skill switch rather than hard skill switch, because FinOps, it's not a finance and operation. No, it is a finance plus development plus operations. So it's a finance plus DevOps. And currently in the role of the FinOps, I'm doing a lot of work with the cloud myself, and in addition, I'm a cost-aware person, and I'm implementing the cost awareness inside the company. So before that, nobody would really care what they launched, right? If it's cost us $15,000 a month or $35,000 a month. And now, because, well, you know how the economy is, right? Um, and now the companies start caring about the monthly spend on the cloud resources. And that's the part of the FinOps role. But without understanding what resources we run, how they run, why we run them, it's not going to be possible to say, hey, I just found $20,000 per month in savings here. That's not going to work this way, because things happen for the reason, and you need to understand the reason behind it. With me, I'm still involved in the DevOps a lot, and I do not really think it's a like a transition away. It's a natural evolvement for me. And FinOps is the new profession on the market. It didn't exist a couple years ago, so it's really young and new profession. And it's a next big buzzword in the IT world, which will be needed in a lot of specialists will be needed for that. Um, and I think we will open the course on that. It will be an extension on the DevOps. Um, and the idea there is that you really become financially aware. You become aware of the costs and how and why you pay for the cloud, and you establish the culture inside the org. This is the hardest part, basically, because engineers do not want to care. They just need a new shiny thing, or they have a task, launch something at all costs. So that's the idea. So for me, I do not prefer one or other. It's more I just keep evolving. And inspiration was that we had the internal need in the company of somebody like that, and I just like, why not? And I've been close to that. I've been doing basically, I'm focusing myself on the resource optimization. That's my initial career goal, to be proficient and capable of going into the company and finding inefficiencies in the processes and the infrastructure. And basically, FinOps is an extension of it. So inefficiency is more like in the money spending. Will you
That's a great
teach?
answer, Alexei.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I wanted to say to Pam that you got to start somewhere, you know. So, and it's like if he wouldn't be developed engineer, he wouldn't be ready for the next opportunity to go level up. And you know, you got to start somewhere. So start with this, and then transition. There's always room to grow. So that's very, very important. There's another. Oh, you already answered that one. You fast. All right.
Okay.
So
So there are a few more questions.
Mhm.
Will you teach a team CD for CI/CD? Well, yeah, I just responded to it too. The idea is that Jenkins is the core CI/CD tool. And if you know Jenkins, you will understand all others easier. So there are a bunch of stuff on the market, like Circle CI. You can use GitLabs. You can use Firebase, by the way. It's also partially CI/CD for those who know. Um, it can be anything, right? So Team CD, it's not really something what I've heard about. It's a blank space in my knowledge. I'm okay on bringing it into the course, but if you're interested in it, Roman, you actually gonna be one who bring it into the course and say, hey, this is the tool, and let's just pick it apart. But we definitely can do that. So that's also the way how I structure my course. If some new students bring the new shiny tool and it's really becoming the market trend and it's kind of visible, right? I'm putting it on you to actually introduce it to the course. So, hey, if there is alternative to the Ansible, yes, they are. Shall we use it? Well, let's finish with the Ansible and then incorporate another tool, which hey, there is a Team CD. Fine, there is a GitLab. Is it paid or not? Because we are focusing mostly on the open source products, and one of the reasons because the open source is almost everywhere, and that should be a reason why certain companies use a Team CD. I'm fairly sure that was like either some discounts or something. So we definitely can do that. At the moment, it wasn't part of the curriculum.
That's awesome. I like that we have so many active people. That means
Right.
they're listening. They're ready to learn. So we are starting a new group on October 23rd. So if you want to join us at the special promotional price at 3,099, you gotta join before midnight because next week the price is going to be different. So I would encourage each of you take action today. Right now, scan the QR code. I'll leave you information so we could go over the details with you. And do we have any more questions or should we wrap it up, Alexei?
I think we are pretty good to go.
So,
Hari, it's the
mhm.
last question about the installments, right? You scan the QR code, and one of the managers will contact you, and then you can discuss it with them. Uh, Currently, I think it's not a big secret. It's just that I think there is a like individual approach to the students. So
Yeah, and everyone has
work with the managers.
different, yeah, different,
Okay, the
different.
very last question. Are we learning any coding language here? We are not a coding bootcamp. That's the one thing. The other thing is that, as I already explained, DevOps engineer, we do not necessarily write a code. We use the code of others. So the general idea, we work with the templates, but you will be working with a certain templating languages. That's for sure. Um, and you get an access to the free Python basics course. I think that's another benefit, something what we forgot to mention, by the way. Once you're on the DevOps course, yes, you will get an access to the Python, but it will not be part of the lesson. So you will need to structure the time by yourself. If you want to learn one, you get a chance. If not, it's not a pre-requirement. And along the way, you'll be staring at the templates and so on for so long that you actually will be able to understand something. But developing things, it's a totally different profession and totally different level of kind of working with the code. What we do, we tweak it. We tweak the parameters, we tweak certain variables, we add or remove some bits and pieces, but we do not write the full-fledged applications here. That's the way how the DevOps course is structured, and that's why the DevOps profession doesn't really need to have a mandatory coding skills. On the interview, it will be an advantage for sure. But overall, DevOps is more about understanding a tool set and knowing how to leverage to actually do what you need to do. So that's that. I think that was the last question. We went through all of this, right,
Yeah, we're
Julia?
pretty much. Yeah, we answered most of those questions about the mentorship session, the structure, the beginning of the course, how long it's going to be. So I just want to encourage you one more time. Do not miss this opportunity. Opportunities like this do not happen twice. I want to thank everyone who's been super active in the chat today, everyone who spent this time with us and joined us. I want to thank Alexei for giving us such a great overview. And I know it's a lot of information, but I love that he showed some practical part of it. It seems like it could be very creative career path. And so take action today, become successful in it. And a year down the road, you will look back and you can tell that that was the best decision you made for your future career. So take action today. Enjoy your weekend. Do something what makes you happy and let this career path become a part of your future. Thank you, everybody, for staying with us today.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Mhm.
See you. See you on the course. Bye.
Bye.